The night sky over Earth was calm, filled with stars. People were going about their lives, never knowing that something was about to change forever. Then, without warning, the stars seemed to move. Gigantic alien ships appeared above the world's major cities. They were not like anything humans had ever seen before. Their black metal hulls blocked out the moonlight. Their engines hummed like thunder. The ground shook as the ships slowly descended into the sky. All around the world, governments went into panic. Leaders shouted into phones. Military bases sounded alarms. Families rushed to hide in their homes. News channels showed the massive alien fleet live on television. "They are here," a reporter whispered, her voice trembling. But inside the alien command ship, the invaders were calm. To them, this was not a battle. It was a conquest. The Zorath Empire, known across galaxies, had come to Earth to crush another young species. To them, humans were weak, soft, divided, easy prey. The alien commander, a tall creature with scales of purple and gold, stood proudly. His large black eyes scanned Earth's surface. "This world will fall in a single strike," he said to his crew. "Humans will beg for mercy. By tomorrow, this planet will belong to us." The invasion began with fire. Bright beams of energy shot down from the alien ships, striking empty fields, oceans, and mountains as a warning. Buildings trembled. Power grids went dark. The world was thrown into chaos. Yet something strange happened. The humans did not scream as much as the aliens expected. Yes, some panicked. Yes, some cried. But many others smiled. Soldiers in bunkers checked their weapons. Pilots climbed into jets with steady hands. Civilians whispered, "Finally." In a hidden base deep underground, General Harris stood before a large screen. His face was calm, his voice steady. "So they have come. Good, let the men know." "This is just training," his officers laughed quietly. They had been preparing for years. Unknown to the rest of the galaxy, humanity had faced endless wars, endless struggles, endless fights just to survive on their own planet. From ancient battles with swords, to world wars with machines, to constant drills of modern armies, humanity had always been fighting, always preparing. When the aliens declared war, humans called it something else. A chance to practice. The first wave of alien troops landed on the surface. Tall, armored creatures marched through the smoke, holding glowing rifles. Their orders were clear: capture the cities, enslave the population, break human resistance. But as they advanced, they found something they did not expect. In the streets of New York, human soldiers had already set traps. Cars were turned into barricades. Snipers took positions on rooftops. Drones flew silently above. When the aliens marched in, the humans struck fast and hard. Explosions lit up the streets. The aliens roared in anger, but the humans did not run. They pushed forward with fearless eyes. In Tokyo, pilots scrambled into jets and launched into the sky. Alien ships fired beams, but the jets weaved through them like they had practiced 1,000 times before. One pilot even laughed over the radio. "Feels like another drill, doesn't it?" In London, civilians joined the fight. Firefighters, police, even regular citizens picked up weapons. They moved together, like they had trained all their lives. It wasn't chaos, it was coordination. The alien commander on the mothership frowned. His black eyes narrowed. "Why are they not breaking? Why do they fight like this?" One of his officers replied, "They fight as if they expected us," the commander hissed. "Impossible. This species was supposed to be primitive, but down below, humanity's spirit burned bright. Every human soldier, every human fighter moved with the same strange confidence. It was not the confidence of victory. It was the confidence of practice. They had seen worse in their own history. To them, this invasion was just another test. Night turned to day, and the battles raged on. Smoke filled the skies. Alien ships hovered like shadows over the cities. Yet everywhere, humans fought with cleverness and courage. In one ruined street, a young soldier grinned as he reloaded his weapon. "Aliens call it war," he muttered to his squad. "We call it Tuesday." His friends laughed, then charged forward again. By the end of the first day, the aliens had not won. Instead, they were confused, frustrated, and shaken. In their command ship, the alien commander slammed his claws against the table. "Why do they not surrender?" he shouted. No one answered. Back on Earth, General Harris watched the battle maps on his screen. Red dots marked alien positions, but blue lines of human resistance held strong. He looked at his officers, then spoke calmly. "Tell every unit the same message," he said. "This is not war. This is training, and training must be completed." The officers nodded and smiled, and so, while the galaxy thought Earth would fall in a single strike, humanity stood tall. Their secret was simple: war was nothing new. And when aliens invaded Earth, humans treated it like practice. The real war had only just begun. The first day of the invasion had shocked the aliens. They expected an easy victory, but instead they found humans who fought with laughter in their eyes. Now the second day began, and both sides prepared for the real clash. In the skies above Earth, alien warships floated like black mountains. Their cannons glowed with deadly light. The alien commander, furious from the failures of the first night, ordered a new assault. "No more warnings," he growled. "No more games. Burn their cities. Crush their armies. Show them what true war looks like." The Zorath Empire soldiers roared in agreement. Thousands of dropships poured out of the mothership, descending into Earth's atmosphere like a storm of fire. Their engines lit up the sky, their shadows covering entire cities. But on the ground, the humans were ready. General Harris stood inside his command center, watching the alien ships break through the clouds. His officers waited for orders. He simply nodded and said, "Phase 2. All across the world, human forces moved into action. Tanks rolled out from hidden bunkers. Artillery pieces rose from underground silos. Fighter jets screamed into the air. Civilians who had trained in secret militias armed themselves and joined the defense lines. It was not chaos, it was order. Humanity had prepared for this moment for generations, and now the training showed. The first clash came over Paris. Alien troops landed in huge armored carriers, smashing into the streets. They marched with heavy steps, weapons glowing blue, ready to wipe out anything in their path. But as they turned corners, humans struck. French soldiers appeared from tunnels below. Snipers on rooftops fired precise shots. Explosives hidden in cars ripped through alien formations. The streets became a maze of traps. The aliens tried to advance, but every step forward was met with fierce resistance. One alien captain roared in frustration. "Why do they fight like this? They are supposed to be primitives." A young human soldier smirked as he reloaded behind rubble. "Primitive? We've been practicing for this since before you crawled out of your egg." Then he fired again, dropping the captain where he stood. Meanwhile, in the Pacific Ocean, alien warships clashed with human naval fleets. At first glance, the alien ships were larger, stronger, and armed with advanced plasma cannons. But the humans were clever. They used speed, surprise, and teamwork. Submarines rose from the depths, launching torpedoes. Aircraft carriers launched squadrons of jets. Destroyers fired missiles in perfect coordination. One alien ship commander gasped as his sensors showed dozens of small human crafts swarming him. "They fight like a school of predators," he whispered. The ship shook violently as torpedoes slammed into its hull. Fire burst across its decks. The humans did not run. They attacked again and again, treating every move like part of a drill. In the skies above, alien fighters tried to chase human jets. But the jets twisted and turned in ways the aliens did not expect. Human pilots laughed over their radios, pulling off maneuvers they had practiced for years. "Watch this," one pilot said, diving straight toward an alien fighter before pulling up at the last second. The alien tried to follow but crashed into the sea. The human pilot laughed. "Like I said, just another training day." On the ground in Africa, the battle was just as fierce. Alien machines, tall walking tanks, stomped through deserts, firing beams of light. But humans were waiting in ambush. Guerrilla fighters, trained for years in harsh conditions, struck from the sand. They used rockets, mines, and even captured alien weapons. The desert became a graveyard of alien steel. The aliens were shocked. Every human they faced fought differently. Some used modern technology, others used ancient tactics. But all of them fought with one thing in common: confidence. They acted like none of this was new, like they had already lived through this war before. In orbit, the alien commander slammed his claws on the table. This is not possible. They should be breaking, not standing stronger. An officer bowed his head. Commander, it is as if they treat our war as training, the commander hissed. Then we will show them training means nothing against true power. Prepare the super cannon. But even as he prepared his strongest weapon, he could feel something strange. For the first time, his heart felt doubt. Back on Earth, in the ruined streets of Paris, a young boy peeked out from behind a broken wall. He saw human soldiers fighting, pushing back the aliens step by step. His father whispered to him, "Do you see, son? This is what humans do. We adapt, we endure. We never stop." The boy's eyes lit with pride. "We will win, won't we?" His father smiled. "Of course. To them this is war. To us this is practice. And no one in the galaxy trains harder than humans." The first great clash of the invasion was not the defeat the aliens expected. Instead, it became a nightmare for them. Everywhere they turned, humans fought with skill, courage, and strange joy. The aliens had brought war, but the humans treated it like a warm-up. As night fell again, alien ships burned in the skies. On the ground, soldiers rested for only a moment before preparing for the next attack. General Harris looked at the maps again. The aliens had landed everywhere, but humanity still stood strong. He smiled quietly. "This is just the beginning," he said. "Let them come. We are only getting started." And across the planet, the message spread like fire. Aliens invaded Earth. Humans treated it like practice. The war was far from over. The real test was still ahead. The alien commander paced inside the mothership. His scaled feet struck the metal floor with sharp clicks. He had expected glory, a quick victory that would make his name remembered across the galaxy. Instead, his army was bleeding against a species that should have been weak. He snarled, turning to his officers. "Explain to me, why do they fight like this? Why do they not fear us?" One officer bowed his head. "Commander, we do not understand." "They fight like trained soldiers. All of them. Not just their armies. Even their civilians fight as if they have always been ready." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Then find out why. I want every detail about this species." And so, alien scouts gathered information. They hacked into Earth's signals, watched human history, studied human wars. What they discovered made them shiver. Humanity's history was endless conflict. Wars that lasted centuries, battles that killed millions, struggles fought with swords, guns, tanks, and bombs. Even when humans had peace, they trained for war. They fought each other, but in that struggle they became something stronger than any other race. One alien scientist whispered in fear, "Commander, humans do not simply fight wars. They live them. For them, war is not disaster. It is life. It is training." The commander roared and smashed the screen. He did not want to believe it. But outside, on Earth, the proof was everywhere. In New York, soldiers and civilians worked together as if they had trained side by side for years. Police directed tanks. Firefighters built barricades. Teenagers carried supplies for the soldiers. Every person had a role. Every move felt practiced. In Tokyo, engineers rewired alien weapons, turning them against the invaders. A group of college students hacked into an alien drone and sent it flying back to attack its own masters. One laughed as sparks lit up the screen. "See, even their technology is just another exam for us." In Africa, tribes who had survived deserts, hunger, and war for centuries now faced alien machines without fear. They moved like hunters, striking quickly and vanishing into the sand. To them, this invasion was only a new challenge. Everywhere the aliens looked, humanity fought as if they had been preparing for this very moment. Inside the command center, General Harris studied the reports. His officers surrounded him, tired but smiling. "Sir," one officer said, "the aliens are pressing harder, but our people are holding." "Not just the armies, everyone," Harris nodded. "That is the secret. The aliens think war is something rare, something special. For us, it is history. For us, it is training. He leaned forward, his eyes hard. Send the message across all channels. We will not break. This is practice, and practice makes us stronger. The message spread like fire through radio, television, and the internet. Soldiers repeated it. Civilians whispered it. Even children began saying it. Soon the whole planet echoed with the same words. This is practice. The aliens, listening to human signals, grew more unsettled. On the battlefield, their soldiers noticed something terrifying. Humans were not just resisting, they were learning. In the first battles, humans struggled against alien rifles. By the second battles, they had figured out how to dodge the blasts, how to use cover better, how to strike back. Within days, they were capturing alien weapons and mastering them as if they had been training with them for years. An alien soldier shouted in panic after his squad was ambushed. They are adapting. Every hour they grow stronger. In orbit, the commander's hands trembled as he watched the reports. His empire had crushed dozens of worlds. None had ever adapted so quickly. None had ever fought back like this. Humanity was different. In London, an alien officer was captured alive. Human interrogators asked him why they invaded. He sneered, "Because you are weak. You are young. The galaxy does not fear you." A human soldier leaned forward, eyes burning. "Weak? You think this is us at our strongest? No, this is us practicing. You came here thinking you would teach us fear, but we are the ones teaching you." The alien officer said nothing more. His silence was fear itself. As the battles raged, the aliens began to realize something even worse. Humans were not united before the invasion. They had different nations, different beliefs, different flags. But now, facing an enemy from the stars, they stood as one. The invasion had done what centuries of politics could not. It had united Earth. In Moscow, Washington, Beijing, and London, leaders who had once been rivals now spoke with one voice. We are humanity. We stand together. This is practice, and practice will end in victory. On the alien mothership, the commander sat alone in the dark. His officers dared not speak. He stared at a map of Earth, glowing with battle markers. But instead of shrinking, the human lines grew stronger every day. He whispered to himself, they were supposed to break. Why do they not break? For the first time in his long career, he felt something he had never known before. Fear. And far below, on the surface, General Harris stood on a rooftop overlooking the burning horizon. His face was calm, his voice firm. You wanted war, he said quietly, almost as if speaking to the stars. But for us, this is just the warm-up. The real war was only beginning. The mothership of the Zorath Empire hung above Earth like a black sun. Its surface glowed with lines of red energy. Inside its command chamber, silence ruled. Alien officers looked at their screens but dared not speak. They had seen the same reports again and again. Humanity was not breaking. Humanity was adapting. The commander's golden scales dimmed under the harsh lights. His claws scraped the table as he whispered, "Why? Why do they not fear us?" No one answered. At last, one officer gathered courage. "Commander, perhaps they are not capable of fear," the commander hissed. "Every species fears us." His voice trembled, though he tried to hide it. But deep inside, he knew the truth. He had watched the feeds. He had seen human soldiers laugh while charging into battle. He had seen civilians fight with nothing but knives against plasma rifles. He had seen children smile in the ruins, whispering the same words, "This is practice." And for the first time in his long career, the commander felt something alien to himself. He felt fear. On Earth, the battles grew even fiercer. In New York, alien troops poured into the streets, their weapons firing beams that tore through buildings. But the humans only grew more dangerous. A group of firefighters, their faces covered in ash, charged into battle with nothing but axes and stolen alien rifles. They fought like warriors of old, fearless, unbroken. An alien soldier screamed as he was dragged down by men in burned uniforms. In Tokyo, the alien air fleet descended. Their sleek fighters screamed across the sky. But human pilots rose to meet them, weaving through the clouds like birds of prey. Each maneuver looked impossible, yet they pulled it off. Alien pilots, trained for decades, were outflown by humans who treated the dogfights like a game. One alien pilot panicked as a human jet closed in. "They are enjoying this," he shouted before his screen went black in fire. The aliens had power, but the humans had something stronger. They had will. In Africa, under the blazing sun, alien war machines thundered forward. But human tribes fought with patience and cunning. They ambushed the machines, struck their weak points, and vanished again. To the aliens, it was chaos. To the humans, it was tradition. One elder warrior raised his spear after destroying a massive alien walker with explosives. "We have always hunted giants," he told his people. "These are no different." In Europe, resistance fighters sang songs as they fought, their voices echoing across the ruined cities. To the aliens, it was madness. To the humans, it was strength. The alien commander slammed his claws on the table. "This cannot continue! Prepare the doomsday cannon. If they will not kneel, then we will burn their world to ashes." His officers obeyed, though their hands shook. They too had watched the humans. They too had felt the creeping fear. The supercannon, a weapon capable of vaporizing an entire city in one blast, began to charge. Its core glowed like a rising sun, but humans were already watching. Hidden satellites caught the signal. Within minutes, General Harris knew. He gathered his commanders. "They planned to destroy us with one weapon," Harris said calmly. "So we destroy the weapon first." His officers looked at him in shock. "Sir, how?" "Their mothership is untouchable." Harris smiled faintly. "Nothing is untouchable. We just need to make the impossible practice." The plan spread quickly. Special forces across the world volunteered for the mission. They knew it was nearly suicide, but none hesitated. "We've trained for worse," one soldier said, strapping on his gear. "Let's show them what humans do when death stares us in the face." Meanwhile, the aliens continued to push their attack. In every city, in every desert, in every ocean they fought. But for every alien advance, humanity responded with something new: alien rifles. Humans learned to turn their own energy cells into bombs. Alien armor? Humans melted it with chemical fire. Alien drones? Hackers bent them to human control. Every trick the aliens used became training for humanity, and the aliens saw it. On the battlefield, an alien officer collapsed to his knees. His squad had been wiped out by humans who should have been weaker. He dropped his rifle, trembling. They do not stop," he whispered. "They are not soldiers. They are monsters wearing human skin." His words spread through alien ranks like poison. For the first time, alien soldiers felt fear. Not fear of death, they were trained for that. Fear of humans. In orbit, the commander's claws shook as the cannon charged. He stared at the growing light on the screen, trying to believe victory was close. But his thoughts kept returning to the humans. He remembered their laughter in battle, their calm faces, their endless adaptation. And deep in his heart he wondered, if this is practice, what will their real war look like? For the first time, the mighty Zorath commander was afraid of losing. On Earth, as night fell, General Harris looked up at the sky. The alien mothership glowed faintly, its weapon preparing to fire. Around him, soldiers waited for his command. He raised his voice, calm and steady. "They think we will kneel. They think we will break. But they do not know who we are. We are humans. This is practice. And practice ends in victory." The soldiers roared in response, their voices rising into the night. The sound carried across radios, across cities, across the planet. And somewhere high above, inside his warship, the alien commander heard those voices. For the first time, he wondered not if he would win, but if he could even survive. The alien mothership floated like a storm cloud above Earth, its cannon glowing brighter with each second. Inside, the commander's voice shook with rage. "Fire the weapon when ready. Burn their cities. Break their spirit." His officers bowed, but many glanced at each other nervously. They had watched the humans fight. They had seen their endless courage. And now, even as they prepared the doomsday weapon, doubt poisoned their hearts. On Earth, General Harris studied the sky from his underground command center. The glowing cannon was visible even from the surface, a terrible red light piercing the night. His officers looked to him, waiting. "Sir," one asked, "if that weapon fires, millions will die." Harris's face was calm, but his eyes burned with determination. "Then we strike first." The plan was madness. No human force had ever attacked a ship that size. The mothership was armed with shields, cannons, and armies. But madness had never stopped humans before. From secret hangars, squadrons of stealth aircraft launched. Submarines rose from the depths to fire missiles into the sky. Even captured alien fighters, now flown by daring human pilots, joined the assault. The world held its breath as the strike began. In orbit, explosions lit up space. Human jets, smaller and weaker, swarmed the mothership like angry bees. Missiles streaked through the void, slamming into its shields. The alien ship trembled, but the shields held. Inside, the commander laughed bitterly. Pathetic. They throw sticks at a mountain. But then he saw something strange. The humans kept coming, wave after wave, each strike more precise than the last, each pilot learning from the one before. The commander's laughter faded. "This is not random," he whispered. "This is training." On the ground, humans everywhere fought harder. In Paris, soldiers pushed the aliens out of the streets. In Africa, tribes brought down another massive walker. In Tokyo, hackers cracked more alien drones. The message spread: the mothership can fall. Civilians cheered in bunkers. Children drew pictures of alien ships burning. Soldiers grinned through blood and smoke. The whole planet believed. Meanwhile, aboard the mothership, fear spread among the crew. The shields flickered under constant human strikes. Damage reports came faster and faster. "Commander," an officer shouted, "they are learning with every attack. If this continues, silence." The commander roared, but his claws shook against the table. He remembered every world the Zorath Empire had conquered. None had fought like this. None had adapted so fast. None had turned despair into strength. This was no longer conquest. This was survival. On Earth, General Harris gave his final order: "Prepare the boarding team." Elite soldiers trained in secret climbed into captured alien shuttles. Their mission: land inside the mothership and destroy the cannon from within. It was near suicide, but none hesitated. "Sir," one soldier said over the radio, "if we fail—" Harris cut him off. "You won't fail. You're human. Remember, this is practice." The soldier smiled grimly. "Yes, sir, practice." The boarding team launched. Alien defenses fired at them, but human jets threw themselves into the path of the blasts, sacrificing to clear the way. The shuttles punched through the shields and slammed into the mothership's hull. Alarms blared inside the alien command chamber. "Intruders! Humans are aboard!" The commander's eyes widened. "Impossible. No one has ever breached a Zorath warship." But it was not impossible. It was practice. Inside the ship's metal corridors, the human soldiers fought like wolves. They used every trick they had learned in 100 battles. They moved fast, precise, fearless. Alien guards fell one by one. At last, they reached the cannon's control chamber. The glowing core hummed like a heart of fire. "Set the charges," the team leader ordered. Explosives were placed around the core. The countdown began. On the bridge, the commander realized too late. His greatest weapon was about to be destroyed by humans he had underestimated. "No!" he roared. "Stop them! Stop them now!" But his orders were useless. His soldiers were already falling. His empire's pride was crumbling. And deep inside, he felt the truth. Humans had turned his invasion into their training ground. The charges exploded. A shockwave ripped through the mothership. The cannon's core shattered in a burst of fire. Lights flickered across the massive ship. Systems failed. On Earth, people saw the glow in the sky fade. The cannon was gone. The mothership trembled like a wounded beast. Cheers erupted across the planet. In his bunker, General Harris allowed himself the smallest smile. "Turning point," he whispered. "Now the real war begins." In orbit, the mothership burned. The commander staggered as the floor shook beneath him. He looked out at Earth, a world he had meant to conquer. Now it stared back at him, defiant, unbroken, terrifying. "They were supposed to be weak," he muttered. "They were supposed to be prey." His officers trembled in silence. None dared to answer. For the first time, The Zorath Empire had not won, and down below, humanity stood taller than ever. They had survived the storm. They had destroyed the weapon meant to end them. Aliens called it war. Humans still called it training, but now everyone knew the truth. The training was almost over. The real lesson was coming. The mothership burned in orbit, smoke and fire tearing across its once perfect hull. Pieces of armor fell into Earth's atmosphere, blazing like meteors. Cities below watched the falling sparks and cheered. Humanity had survived the cannon. Humanity had struck back. But the war was not over. Inside the crippled mothership, the alien commander staggered to his throne. His officers shouted reports, systems offline, shields collapsing, fleets scattered. The great Zorath Empire had never suffered such defeat. The commander's voice cracked with fury. They are only humans, primitive, weak. Why do they not break? No officer dared to reply. They all knew the answer. On Earth, General Harris listened to the reports with grim pride. The mothership was damaged, but it still floated, and the alien fleet remained above the atmosphere. The fight was not yet finished. He stood before his staff, maps glowing on the digital table. They still think they can crush us. We will show them they are wrong. We finish this now. His words spread across the radios, through every battlefield, to every soldier and every civilian who had picked up a weapon. The message was clear. This was not survival anymore. This was victory waiting to be claimed. The alien commander gave one final command. Summon the fleet. All remaining warships prepare to strike at once. If humans want war, then let them be destroyed by war. Across the sky, alien warships gathered like storm clouds. Dozens of vessels lined up, cannons glowing, ready to fire together. It was their last chance to break the humans. On the ground, humanity braced for impact. The alien fleet was still enormous, still deadly. Even damaged, the mothership carried more firepower than anything on Earth. But humans no longer feared. They had learned. The counterstrike began. From Earth, missiles shot upward in endless waves. Submarines hidden in oceans launched torpedoes into orbit. Fighter jets screamed through the sky, chasing alien drones. Even old artillery guns, rebuilt and reloaded, joined the fire. The humans fought as one. Nations that once argued now moved in perfect coordination. Soldiers in deserts, mountains, and frozen tundras all struck together. Now they see, General Harris said quietly, watching the skies. Now they see what training has made us, the alien fleet answered with fire. Green beams lit the sky, striking cities, oceans, and mountains. Towers collapsed, waves rose, forests burned. But every time, humans returned the blow. Alien drones tried to swarm through the atmosphere, but human hackers scrambled their controls. Alien tanks landed in Europe, but farmers, miners, and soldiers together destroyed them. Alien fighters circled above Africa, but were dragged down by homemade weapons. Every strike the aliens delivered was answered with greater strength. The commander watched in disbelief. Impossible. They fight as though they have faced us 1,000 times. They fight as though they trained for us. Then came the moment of final defiance. The human boarding team inside the mothership, those who had survived the destruction of the cannon, had not left. They had fought their way deeper into the ship. And now they reached the command chamber itself. The doors burst open. Smoke and sparks filled the air. The alien commander stood tall, claws dripping with blood from his own fallen guards. "You dare?" he roared. The human leader, armor broken and face covered in soot, stepped forward. "We don't just dare. We win." The fight was brutal. The commander slashed with monstrous strength, but the humans were fast, precise, unyielding. Each strike he landed was answered by 3 more. The soldiers fought not just for themselves, but for every city below. Every child hiding in bunkers, every family waiting for dawn. At last, the commander fell to his knees. His chest heaved, his claws dripped red, and his eyes burned with hate. "You are not warriors," he spat. "You are—" Madness. The human soldier raised his weapon. "No, we are humanity." The shot echoed through the chamber. The commander collapsed, silent at last. In the skies above, the mothership shook violently. Without its leader, the alien fleet lost direction. Ships scattered, confused and leaderless. Human missiles and jets struck them one by one. Explosions lit the sky like fireworks. The great Zorath fleet, once the terror of 1,000 worlds, was broken. On Earth, cheers erupted. Civilians danced in streets, soldiers raised their weapons high, children shouted in joy. For the first time in history, Earth had stood against an empire, and won. General Harris stepped outside his bunker into the cold morning air. The sky was still glowing with fire, but above it, the stars shone clear and bright. His officers gathered around him waiting for his words. He spoke slowly, but his voice carried with pride. They called it war. But for us, it was training. And we passed. The crowd erupted in cheers. Radios carried his words across every nation. Humanity had not just survived. They had grown stronger. Far away, in the dark reaches of space, other alien empires listened to the reports. They heard of the Zorath defeat. They heard of Earth, the world that refused to kneel. Many shivered in fear, for they knew if humans treated invasion as training, then no one could imagine what they would do when the real war began. Thus ended the first great invasion of Earth. The scars of battle covered cities, but the spirit of humanity was unbroken. In fact, it was sharper than ever before. Soldiers returned to families as heroes. Scientists studied alien wreckage, preparing for the future. Children grew up with stories of how their world had stood tall. The lesson was clear. Aliens had declared war. Humans had treated it like practice, and next time it would not be practice. It would be victory.